So tonight we got two qualifying matches on the men's side. One was won by Penta in a fantastic match between Dragon Lee, Chad Gable, and the other was won by Seth Rollins in a match between Finn Balor and Sami Zayn. So quickly to speak on that, there was a match here early on in the show. Chad Gable, Dragon Lee, and Penta. Penta came up here with the win after, there was some sort of, I guess tension between Chad Gable and Vikingo. I think he's from AAA, and they're obviously teasing that match for the Worlds Collide pay-per-view on June 7th. And Penta got the win here in a fantastic match. I think this was probably the best qualifying match that we have seen thus far. There was really a great sense of urgency. This match really felt important here. So Penta goes on to the Money in the Bank match, and so does Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins here. We kicked off the show actually with Seth Rollins. He came out here with Bronson Reed, with Braun Breaker, and with Paul Heyman, and they sort of kind of mentioned why Seth Rollins chose to align with, of all people, Bronson Reed, because if you rewind back to a year ago, Bronson Reed was the man who took out Seth Rollins for a period of time, who tried to make a name for himself off of Seth Rollins' name, and they sort of kind of mentioned the fact that Seth Rollins, he wants the destruction that Bronson Reed is capable of. He wants that on his side. He wants to sort of be able to control the industry, and one way he can do that is with big Bronson Reed. Also, they didn't mention this part, but I felt like it's kind of like it adds to why Seth and Bronson are together. You got to remember, the last time we saw Bronson before he got injured, or as he got injured, was the War Games match. And how did he get injured? Because CM Punk pulled Roman Reigns off of that table, and essentially, it was up to Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed got hurt. He bent his ankle or whatever the case may be. So you could also explain the fact that Bronson Reed, what he did to Seth, it was just business at the time. But what Punk did to him, he's still looking for sort of revenge on CM Punk. So they didn't mention that, but I felt it was kind of, something to add on, so to speak. And Seth Rollins mentioned that one way that he can control the industry is by winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. And obviously tonight he won that qualifying match against Sami Zayn and Finn Balor. There was the ending spot here where Dominic Mysterio comes into the ring. He slides a chair to aid Finn Balor, but Finn Balor doesn't really, he doesn't have enough time to react. Seth stomps Finn Balor onto the chair. 1, 2, 3. Seth wins the match. And now there's sort of, this underlying tension between Dominic and Finn. And even before that, Finn and Dominic, there's a segment in the back where Roxanne Perez is sort of, massaging Dominic's shoulder. Liv Morgan walks in and starts to, I guess, kind of put the pressure on Dominic as far as what's been going on these past few weeks, that she hasn't been here because she's been filming the movie. And all the while you see Finn Balor in the background like a schoolgirl, just laughing his ass off. He can't believe what's going on. He may have injected the poison now with Roxanne Perez, interjecting herself here with Liv Morgan and with Dominic Mysterio. And also Roxanne Perez here later on tonight was I guess a cause as far as why Liv Morgan didn't win her match against Kairi Sane. So, there's all this underlying tension between Finn, Dominic, Liv, Roxanne. I mean, there's a lot of tension here, and I feel like at the very least, it's adding some sort of element of intrigue to the Judgment Day, because the Judgment Day before all this was really just a shell of its former self. Because if you compare this version of the Judgment Day obviously to the prior version with Priest and with Rhea, it obviously doesn't match up, but at least now we're getting some sort of element of surprise here. I'm actually kind of intrigued to see what they're going to do here with Roxanne Perez. We also got a Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch promo here, where essentially they confirmed their match for the Money in the Bank PLE. One thing that was really obvious to me is who's going to win this match, because there was an added stipulation here that Becky Lynch threw in, saying that, if she loses this match, she's not going to be able to challenge ever again for the Intercontinental Championship. And I just, I don't see a spot where Becky Lynch walks into this match and loses again twice to Lyra. And what do we do then with Becky Lynch if she just loses? So I 100% think that was kind of a cop-out way to tell you that she's going to win unless Bailey returns and, you know, they set up something with that. But I 100%, this time I for sure see Becky Lynch going in there and becoming the new Intercontinental Champion. We also got Jey Uso and Gunther here. One thing I really wanted Jey Uso to go over was sort of, you know, what his thoughts are as far as Cena and as far as Logan Paul, because, you know, we haven't really heard what his thoughts are as far as Cena, as far as the tag team match with Cody. But at the same time, Jey Uso, this guy has a lot, you know, on his plate. He has Logan Paul, he has Cena, he has Seth, he has Gunther, he has the presence of Bronson Reed, the presence of Braun Breaker. You know, this guy has a lot sort of, you know, on his back. And I do foresee that on that June 9th episode of Monday Night Raw, you're probably going to see Seth Rollins, who I eventually predict is going to win the Money in the Bank match. I predict that he's going to try to cash in on that night. And I don't know if maybe he gets thwarted and maybe, you know, CM Punk comes out there and tries to stop it, or maybe a Roman Reigns return. But I think Seth Rollins has a very good chance to walk out of that June 9th episode as the new World Heavyweight Champion. And also, one last thing I found really sort of comical here was CM Punk. He wasn't he wasn't really mentioned at all on this show. He was also mentioned that he wasn't even at this show. And at the very end of the triple threat match here that we had with Seth, Finn, and Sami Zayn, now Sami Zayn is being attacked by Bronson Reed, by Braun Breaker, and so is Jey Uso. And CM Punk, he could have come out here really to stop this and really try to stop Seth from trying to even advance into this matchup and to advance into the Money in the Bank match. But really, Punk waits until the last minute, until the last second, when Seth has already won this match. So I kind of thought that was a little bit, you know, just, you know, defeats all the purpose as far as CM Punk coming out there. But regardless, I thought this was a good episode of Monday Night Raw. I really, you know, throughout the night, I feel like there was some weaker spots, there was some stronger spots. I would definitely say that triple threat match in the beginning, obviously the Seth Rollins Bronson Reed stuff, and the main event was probably the highlights of tonight's show. But let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know your thoughts and your reactions to Monday Night Raw as we saw here tonight. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.